Hi, everybody. I am Dave Texaris. I'm here along with my twin brother, Rob Texaris. We're the coaches of Seaford Wrestling. And we have with us a legend of Seaford Wrestling, a legend of Seaford just in general, Mr. Ray Buckley. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of his accolades or his time at Seaford, and I'll give you a moment when I'm done if I missed anything or any corrections on it. But his career started in 1967 as a industrial arts teacher at the Seaford High School. And that's the same year he started as assistant coach of wrestling at Seaford. And he remained a teacher from 1967 to 1980. And then in 1980 became the middle school principal till 1986. Middle school assistant principal.
Right.
And then in 1986 became the principal of the high school and was a principal until he retired in 1997. So 11 years as a principal, which, by the way, I saw that is tied for the longest tenure as principal of Seaford, 11 years with Mr. Reagan, also at 11 years. So you hold
All
that.
right.
Yes, a little interesting.
I didn't realize that.
I think Mr. Burson might pass you by, though. So
yeah,
we'll
so
see.
he's probably getting close. But
he's been there a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then also we know that you were instrumental in starting the 9/11 Memorial Committee, and in 2003 you were an Honorary Patriot Award winner. You were a founding member of the Friends of Seaford Wrestling. In 2009, you were the Friends of Seaford Wrestling Man of the Year. And then also, which I'm not sure too many people, I guess they do, but know about your official as a lacrosse. You're a member of the Long Island Metropolitan Lacrosse Hall of Fame, and was recently announced that you've been inducted to Nassau County Hall of Fame as a lacrosse official. So we'll touch on that a little bit later on as well. Is there anything I missed there? Is that a pretty good summary? Is that accurate summary of your?
Pretty glowing. Maybe it's not necessarily, it shouldn't be that glowing. The only correction I would have is that I was one of the founding members of the 9/11 Memorial Committee.
Yes.
I would very publicly say that Pat Gallagher, myself, Tom Condon were certainly the three people. Tom was still in the school. Pat and I had already retired, which was good because it took so much time. You couldn't possibly work and do that at the same time. So I want to make sure that credit is due. And Lori Shackner is a very intricate part of the whole program. So
right.
that works very, very fluidly, that whole committee.
We'll talk a little bit more about the 9/11 committee, but maybe we could just start off with your where you grew up, where you went to high school and college, and how did you get started at Seaford? What brought you to Seaford?
Well, I grew up in Valley Stream, and I went to Valley Stream South. You know, South and Seaford has some pretty good rivalry going on, and we were in the same league. So my introduction to Bob Gerbino, by the way, was as a competitor against Seaford. Okay. And you get to know, particularly in the tournaments and stuff like that, you get to have a chance to socialize with the other team and the other coaches and stuff like that. So I got to know and respect Coach Gerbino for whom he was and what he did. And coincidentally, by the way, my last year of wrestling at South was 1962. And if you look in your records, I think 1962 was the first championship year that Seaford won the tournament.
Wow. Okay.
All right. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, my connection, you guys will appreciate this. You're very religious. I used to wear a miraculous medal all the time. And as it turned out, when, I don't know how they do it anymore, but they had the wrestlers on one side who you were wrestling against. My coach, his name was Dennis Kiley, was on the opposite side. So the person on my side was Bob Gerbino. So Coach Gerbino. Okay. So I went over. I used to give Dennis Kiley my medal when I went out to wrestle, and I gave it to oddly enough, Bob Gerbino. Okay. So there was a connection before there was an official connection. So by and by, I think the second part of that question, how did I get back into Seaford? So
Yeah, well,
How'd you end up at Seaford? I know you went to Valley Stream South High School. Where'd you go to college, by the way?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you go to college?
I went to school. Well, I went to a junior college in Colorado first. That's too long of a story to tell. I did wrestle there for 2 years, so that was good. So I wrestled there for 2 years, and then I went to Colorado State. Graduated from Colorado State in 1967, and that's the year that I got a job at Seaford. And the funny story about that was I was an industrial arts teacher, certified. And the interesting part about that is that I was going for interviews around Long Island, and there was a place in Westchester County. It escapes me at the present. It'll probably come back to me. And I was very interested in that, and they were interested in me. So I was living with my grandfather at the time, and I'd come back from my various interviews, and he'd say, "How are things going?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the place in Westchester." And he said, "What happened to Seaford?" I said, "Well, Seaford's definitely in the running." He says, "I think you're going to Seaford." I said, how does my grandfather tell me what job I'm going to take in industrial arts?" Anyway, he said to me, he never said Bob Gerbino's name correctly. He called it Gambino or something. He never said Gerbino correct, whatever it was. So long story short is that you know that Bob Gerbino went to Valley Stream Central High School. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Okay, so he went to Valley Stream Central, an excellent wrestler in high school and an excellent wrestler in college at Syracuse University. I think he was in the not in the finals of the NCAA, but in the top notch. Anyway, so while Bob Gerbino was a student at Valley Stream Central, my grandfather, who was the postmaster of the Valley Stream Post Office, was looking for high school students to assist him at Christmas time, like now, to help deliver mail. So that's how he got to know Bob Gerbino. So when I told him that I was thinking about going to this other place in Westchester, God, I can't believe I don't know that name. Anyway, he said, no, you're going to Seaford because of Bob, whatever he called him, Bob Gerbino. So that basically, I mean, it took a little bit longer than that, but that basically was the bottom line of how I ended up at Seaford.
Very cool. Well, we're glad you did and didn't go to Westchester, that's for sure. So you mentioned, you started teaching as an industrial arts teacher, and you started coaching right away also in 1967 as assistant coach to Coach Gerbino. So how was it coaching alongside, everyone, we have Coach Gerbino is the father of Seaford Wrestling. He's a National Hall of Fame coach. There he is, right? So how was it coaching alongside with him? Maybe you could...
I'm going to bring up a picture. So I'm going to share a picture I have of... so we have some pictures here.
Raymond J. Buckley.
Yep. Okay, so you can see it. So we have at the end here, I know we're talking about Gerbino. We have a picture of Coach Gerbino here at Seaford High School. So that was in 1959. So that was before you came. That's probably why you were competing. So you probably know these guys. And then I have a picture here of 1969. Oops, sorry. Let me go back. The 1969 Seaford Wrestling team, which is SSAL, was at the South Shore Athletic League Division III champs. Is that right?
That is correct. And that was the second year in a row. Now, understand I started in 67, 68. Right? Yeah, 67 to 68 was my first year. And we won that tournament. And that's what the coach up there behind Bob is Jeff Nichols.
Okay.
Jeff Nichols, whom was a Seaford High School student, very good student, a football player, a championship heavyweight in wrestling, and something in track and field. I don't know what. But he was he was the golden boy. I mean, he was a good looking, you can see, tall, good looking guy, a former student, and now he's the coach. So this team won in 1967, 68, and again in 68, 69. And that was one of the better teams that I coached, because I think we had almost half of the I was talking about the seats, and the wrestlers were on one side, the coaches. We almost had all 12 seats, because there was 12 weight classes. We almost had all 12 seats in the finals. Not everybody won, but I think we had, and we had three, if my memory serves, I was looking at it before, three undefeated wrestlers. We had Frank Cassie, Stephen Saffer, and I think it was the third. Oh, George Lawrence. George Lawrence was the three wrestlers. It's amazing. I'm sure you're the same way. It's amazing. How do wrestlers do that? I don't know. You can't remember what you had for breakfast, but you can remember matches 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. The same way.
We're very good. But a point that I wanted to make to you is how I became wrestling coach. So I got hired, ready for this? I got hired in 1967, and my starting salary as a starting teacher was $6,100.
Wow. Wow. Oh, man.
So, by the way, the other school over in Westchester was asking for, ready to give me more money. And in those years, you get interviewed by the building principal. Fortunately, when I was there, I was involved in that too. But Bob Peterson was there, and I said, "Well, I'm thinking about going to." Anyway, he says, "Well, what are they offering?" I said, "They're offering $6,300." He says, "Well, I'll tell you what I can do for you." Yeah, what's that? He says, "I see you played football in high school, and I saw that you wrestled in high school." I said, "Yeah." He says, "How about you coach football and coach wrestling, and I'll give you the next stipend."
There you go.
How much is that? $6,300.
Wow.
So I coached football for an entire year for $100, and wrestling my first year for another $100.
Wow.
$100 a season.
Bob Gerbino.
Wow.
That is awesome. So
Think about it, we have a raise more than that in a year than I made for my salary.
Yeah. Wow.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about these teams, so I know they do it differently. They did it differently than they do it now. How would you say that team was compared to the entire Nassau County? Like, how were you a top 10 team in the county, would you say? A top 5? Or how would you say you were in the whole county?
Well, I kind of like the way you guys do it, because before the individual tournaments start, you have the team tournaments, which you've been in and won.
Yes.
And won. And I think because of our depth, you can see in that picture there that we have quite a few people, probably more than most teams had on their squad. So we could in individuals, as I said, we were undefeated in league in dual meets. And I think we would have done pretty well outside of, that was Section 3, I think, at that time. With sections in, not districts.
Yeah, the divisions, yeah.
The terminology is different.
Yes.
And but we won the sectional tournament by 65 points, I think it was.
That's a lot.
And Wanto was second. So I like the way the format is now with the before the actual tournament begins, of the dual meets continuing, and you win, you keep on going, and then you go into the tournament. So to answer your question, we could never determine that, because we only, you only can wrestle the teams you wrestle. You don't get put on to squared off with other teams from other divisions and stuff like that.
Okay.
But dual meet wise, we did well. We had that year, I don't know if it was, well, this year for sure, Frank Cassie. This year for sure, Frank Cassie went into the finals, and he lost to a guy from JFK.
Okay.
Belmont JFK in a close match, and there were a couple of, you know what I'm talking about, coaching. There's always those
Oh yeah.
calls or whatever the case would be. He was first seed too, by the way, and he lost by a point. The other person in that picture is George Lawrence, who I think graduated the next year, and George Lawrence also went to, let's see, George Lawrence. There's Ricky Graff. There's Neil. You see Neil?
Where is Neil down on the bottom here? I have the pointer. Which one is
third from the? I think that's Neil from third and the left.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
right here? I got a highlighter. Is that Neil there? Third from the left.
I think that. I'm not so sure now.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to ask him.
I'm not so sure now. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But that's Ricky Graff and Danny Brack and Michael Brack. Anyways, where the heck is George Lawrence?
Is that Mr. Katniss up there?
It is.
Okay.
It is Mr. Katniss. Now, did he coach you? He didn't coach you.
No. He coached Sal, but not us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
So while you trying to find George Lawrence, you mentioned about Bob Gerbino. What was he like as a coach, Gerbino, and what was he like coaching alongside him? Very
mild, very, very mild. In fact, you see that one picture you have there? I'm yelling, he's sitting.
Yes,
that was him. That's him. I mean, that is a picture of the way he was. Me, I'm a little excited. Maybe too much so. In fact, you can see that I actually have a towel in my hand, my left hand.
Yes.
And Bob would say to me, why don't you suck some, because he wet the end of it with water. And he said, why don't you suck some water out of the towel?
Yeah. Well, Coach, shut up. Rob and I are the same way. We get kind of all fidgety, and
I usually get like the roll of tape and start wrapping around my finger.
We start.
Well, hey, it's nervousness. I mean, come on. They're wrestling one match for 6 minutes. You're wrestling every match for 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of a term, we feel like we wrestled 100 matches. So
that's right. Bob Gerbino, this is Fred Piamelli right there. Fred Piamelli came in third at the heavyweight division. This is a Clark also, Clark High School. But getting back to Bob, I don't know if we'll finish with that, but he was a true gentleman. People talk about an honor and privilege to be with somebody. Without a shadow of a doubt, it was an honor and a privilege to be with him. I learned not only more about wrestling, which I obviously did, a lot from him. I also learned how deportment, how he controlled himself, which was not my top priority.
Yeah.
He was like a brother, a stepfather, or whatever the case is. He was even counseling me on saving. Now remember, I'm just out of college. I'm not married and not I'm making $6,000. So what am I going to put all that money on? But he would say, why don't you start a tax shelter? That's what it was. Why don't you start a tax shelter in Untitled? What? Tax shelter? What is it? So he would get his finance manager and he put him in touch. I think I started saving $25 a month or something like that. Not a heck of a lot of money, but that's what he would do. I will tell you this, though. So we went from opposing wrestler to opposing coach to coaching together for 8 years, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
To the point where when I got married, I'm going to show you this. When I got married, he was in my wedding party.
One second. Let me get out of this. You have a picture of that?
Yep. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. 1 second.
I don't know where it is.
Stop the share.
Okay.
You can see.
Okay. There it is.
Yes.
Okay. There's the wedding picture.
Okay. I can't see it. Okay. So
no, I see it. You're good.
The wrong way. Here
That's
we
good.
are.
Yeah.
And of course, he's the smallest guy there. What am I doing here?
There you go.
Yeah, perfect.
No more. There he is.
There's
there he
Coach
is, right,
Gerbino.
right in the end. Okay.
So he went from now. How's that? Is that a phantom leap?
Yeah.
That's funny because
Imagine you're in high school. You're wrestling against teams and coaches, and at the end of when you start coaching, that coach is in your wrestling wedding party.
It's funny because you talk about that. Sal was our high school coach, and Sal was in our wedding party also. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So so basically, you're saying the same thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean that's your coach. Yeah.
He was never opposing coach, so I guess it's a little bit
Yeah, a little bit different.
But let's talk about your coaching style a little bit. I've taught some people who wrestled on the team, and they told me that you're a very disciplined, regimented person when you're coaching. You like to have them do a lot of push-ups, and you used to call the wrestling room the pit. And then they mentioned something about a Buckley grinders. Can you tell us what's a Buckley grinder and a little bit more about your coaching style?
Well, they knew that Buckley grinders were coming up, and it was always 2 days prior to a big meet.
Okay.
You know that they just prior to, you don't want to kill them too much. You want to go through the fundamentals and stuff like that, but you don't want to tire them out. And the philosophy was that you have to be ready to go for six minutes. But the Buckley grinder was 60 minutes. So I would say that we're going to work out 10 times harder than what you're going to have to do in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it was a non-stop get up and go kind of a thing. So it worked out well. I mean, they dreaded it in one hand and they respected it on the other. So that was where the Buckley grinder came in.
Very cool.
And we see in 1975, he coached Seaford's first state place winner, and that was Russ Bonanno, right?
Correct. Russ Bonanno. I think I have a picture of him too here someplace.
Yeah, he's really like the first, he's the first state place winner from Seaford. So we've had some since, but he was
there it is.
Yes, very cool.
That's in March 1st, 1975, at Clark High School.
And it's at Clark.
Okay.
At Clark. Yes. Yes, it was, and I don't even know if you know the full story about Russell Bonanno. Russell Bonanno first of all, is a hell of an athlete. I mean, just and football, basketball, and lacrosse. And he went out for basketball in his junior year, and Coach Rossetti cut him.
Yeah, that a boy.
Coach Rell coming through.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
So Danny Nolan, who was the coach with us then, was football coach. So he and Russell had a very nice relationship. So Danny found out he got cut from basketball. You know how that works.
Yep.
You're one of mine. I don't know anything about wrestling. Well, the first year, and he truly, I mean, he's just a gifted athlete, but he's a quick learner and he's very talented. Anyway, he did very, very well the first year. The second year, senior year, he did very well. The only loss he had was to a guy by the name of McGrath from Metham. Metham was in our league.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with your name recall, by the way. As we mentioned.
Right?
We're impressed with your name recall, as we mentioned. Very, very good.
Anyway, so the nice part, one of the reasons why, first of all, the move that Russell mastered and made a difference in his wrestling career was the Granby roll. The Granby roll was his cup of tea. Nice. And that's how he ended up, I think he ended up third or fourth in the state. But he wrestled, fifth, what's that?
He took fifth, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Fifth? Well, yes. You're right. I think you're right. So as they're coming together, well, actually, they weren't in the same league because they didn't wrestle in our sectional final, but they met in the finals of the counties. Now, McGrath beat him in the dual meet, and Russell wrestled so tough, McGrath didn't finish the match.
Wow.
Nice.
He didn't even finish the match.
Now, want to take it back for a little bit. I know that the big phrase you always had was Seaford Pride, and maybe you could show the pictures. You know, anything there's something with your name on it next to it is somewhere along the line of Seaford Pride, and so share a few pictures that are up in the school. There's the Ray Buckley Hall of Pride there.
Let me just go back to it, pull it up.
There we go. All the students that are walking through the schools today see that every day, and you know, you also names on the football field, the Raymond J. Buckley Field of Dreams. So maybe you could just, what is Seaford Pride? How did that all come about, and what does Seaford Pride mean to you?
Can I just, before I answer that question, and thank you for bringing that up, actually. But as far, I thought you were going to ask about what I would say in wrestling. And in wrestling, if you, I'm assuming that the old wrestling room is still there, and the beams going through the ceiling is still there. And you see one for all for one.
That got covered up.
It was there when we were. It's got covered, but yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's what we believed in. You know, we're all in it together. You get hurt, I get hurt. You win, I win. You lose, I lose. So that was what it was. Back to Seaford Pride. Seaford Pride developed not through wrestling, but through administration. I don't know if you know too much about what Seaford High School was like in the 80s, but it wasn't too good. It was no law in Dodge. How about that? There was no law in Dodge. And to give testament to that, I was the 4th principal in 5 years.
Wow.
4th principal in 5 years. So that would give you an idea that somebody would come in, they would try to enforce their own rules, and they're gone. Yeah. So now I was in the junior high for 5 years / middle school, the changeover from junior high to middle school, the 6th year. And so let's say that the high school wasn't functioning well. How's that? That's a clean way.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Good. It wasn't operating well. So by and by, and again, too long, convoluted a story, I became principal of the high school. And it was very obvious to everybody that there had to be a major movement there to bring things back above sea level. So I was honored to have the opportunity to, as part of the agreement, they were in trouble. So part of the agreement, I said, I can't take this job unless I can hire my own people. I have to have my own people. I don't want you hiring them. I want to hire them. And of course, they really they didn't have very much of a choice. So Rory Michaels, did you have Rory Michaels?
Yes. Yeah, I know. He was our assistant principal.
Great guy. So he was an administrator. No, he had his license in administration. And of course, I knew him because there's a foreign language department chair, so a very smart guy. And I need smart guys around me.
Yes.
For the obvious reasons. And so he was my assistant principal. And Dave Sheehan, we hired as our administrator of special services, or I forget what the title. We made a title.
Like a dean.
There was no job. Yeah. We made a title. He got it. And Tom Bosch was there, so he was the director of guidance. So you get the team.
Yeah.
So the team got together, and we through a process of, well, first of all, we're hearing all of the chatter from the teachers and the parents and the kids that things are not going well. We actually went to when you were in school, did they have the smoking lounge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So you know what I'm talking about, right? The pig pen.
Yeah.
The pig pen. Okay. So what we did is the team took, they called the Teachers Advisory Committee, TAC. Do you have a TAC? in school, Teachers Advisory Council.
Something
Committee.
similar to that. It's not named that, but we have the similar things. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, all the teachers' complaints go to them, and then the TAC committee goes to the administration, and we're supposed to clean it all up. So before school started, we said, why don't we go to the Circle M Diner? I don't know if that's still there on
Yeah,
American.
in Montauk.
Yeah, with them, we'll have breakfast. So we took them there, and Rory was taking notes, and I was sort of just phoning and saying, what do you have to say? 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 And getting this whole list. Well, on everybody's list was a smoking lunch. You know, lateness to class, cutting class, smoking, obviously, some other things going on in the parking lot, you know.
Yes.
Circulating around. So the bottom line on it is, okay, that's got to go. That's got to go. So bottom line on that whole meeting was that we had, I think, 21 different changes that were going to happen. Basically closing the campus, getting rid of that. The class before us actually sold candy and got an awning. So they got an awning over so they could smoke outside in the rain, which was being installed when we were walking in the building in August. Got rid of that. So Seaford Pride came. This is all leading up to it. I said we got to do something to shake it up so that it's not the same old. It's in fact, we call it the new Seaford High School. That's what we call it, the new Seaford High School. And so Seaford Pride came out of that, and we actually had all the whole walls painted white, north white, and through the Booster Club, the person's name was Lori Mackey. I don't know where that came from. Lori Mackey was the president. And we said, we have to start putting Seaford Pride on the walls. I don't know if it's still on the cafeteria walls or the gymnasium.
It is. Yeah, it is there.
Yeah, that's back then. So the idea was that if we say it enough and see it enough, maybe it'll sink in. And it wasn't turning the page, it's there. It took a while to do, but once you pump them up enough, Mr. Bon Jovi, Steve Bon Jovi was talking about Seaford Pride in the morning announcement, all that stuff like that. So it was something that you would hear regularly, and consequently it stuck, and that's how Seaford Pride actually started.
It sure did, because I remember hearing that all the time when I was in high school. You know, we were class of '96, and that's something that still carries with us today. Is so much for Rob and myself that after we graduated college and got our own houses, we moved back to Seaford because we wanted to be part of this town. So
I don't know if I've said this to you, but I've said this to enough people who talk about Seaford Pride proudly, by the way, that I think it was a climate change for the whole district. I think as an attitude was changed in the entire district. Seaford Pride wasn't it, but it helped ignite it and make the movement. Anyhow, but I said regularly, and you guys are a perfect example of that. I said, so Seaford is a different place. It's just a plain different place. It's almost like there's a wall around, on Sneemazet Road, and it's just Jerusalem Avenue and whatever the case, just like a wall around it. I said, think about this. Just think about this. And you know better than I do because you lived it. I said, how many people went to the school and came back and bought a more expensive house, maybe a lesser house, for more taxes, paying more, so that their sons and daughters can experience what I experienced? You can't get a better accolade than that. You just can't get one. The people are willing to shell money out of their pocket to make sure their kids have the same opportunity they had.
My oldest son's in first grade at the Harbor School. His daughter's at kindergarten at the Manor School. So that's a testament to that.
Perfect example.
I want to bring it back to wrestling. You talked about Seaford High School went through some dark times in the 80s, and that's also kind of true about the wrestling program. The wrestling program was on the brink of death, and till they brought Sal LoStrappo in 1994. Were you part of bringing Sal in? I know you were principal then. Were you part of that, or what's your relationship with Sal and bringing him in and to revive the Seaford wrestling program?
Things were not going right. So budgetary, this I will share with you, budgetary, they were looking to get rid of things like tennis, wrestling, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And now I'm now I'm principal. So I got a hold of the superintendent of schools, his name was Dwayne Paul, and I said, in all due respect, I know you have a budget, but no way in my era can I ever let you take wrestling away. I mean, it just can't happen. It just can't happen. So I said, so what do we have to do here? Isn't there anything else I could do? I did have bowling. They had other things. I mean, no knock on these other sports, but I had, my life was wrapped up in wrestling. So they saw it through. And I don't think I had the official word or answer about Sal LoStrappo, although I had a lot of last words. But I knew he was in the mix, and I knew once that key was turned in the door, it's going to go up. So my contribution is it didn't fold.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you.
I didn't say my contribution was Sal LoStrappo, but Sal LoStrappo couldn't coach a team that wasn't there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's big. Now, fast forward a little bit. Shortly after he became coach, I know you were instrumental in the Friends of Seaford Wrestling started, and was talking to some wrestlers. You were big into having a Friday night matches being a big event and drawing a big crowd. And you came up with the idea of having a Bob Gerbino night, which still goes on
I know.
to this day. And one of the things that I love about being in Seaford, we talk about Seaford Pride, is anytime we do something, we do it, I feel like, the best. Other schools try and do things. They try and do it like a Gerbino night, or they try and do even a 9/11 memorial and stuff. But Seaford does it the best. We always do it top notch. And I know that was because of something that you started, and you made sure if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right and make it a big event. We had the honor of wrestling in the first Bob Gerbino night, and it's still going strong to this day. So talk a little bit about how you got that started and involved in the Friends of Seaford Wrestling.
Well, Sal had a lot to do with that. Because Sal, although he wasn't on our team, he was old enough where he was going to the wrestling matches that we were producing.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Producing, because it wasn't roll out the mat, put up the chairs, start the clock, and away you go. We weren't doing that. And Friday nights, as you said before, like Dave said before, was a production. I mean, a real production. And the kids were involved in it. I mean, they had to roll out. I don't know if you guys, do you still have to roll out the mats?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we got lightweight ones, so that's nice. But yeah, we still roll them out.
They had to roll out the mats, and they had to get the chairs, and they had to get the tables and spotlights and all that kind of stuff. And we had a lot of stuff where we had the parents engaged. We actually had the parents engaged. In fact, we used to have parent appreciation night. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, parent appreciation night. And just to make that story a little bit longer, is that we actually initially we had parent appreciation night, and we had coffee and donuts in the fitness room, and everybody liked it. And then Bob says, I live in Merrick. Why don't we invite them over to my house after the match? So after the match, we had parent appreciation. One of the parents, Scott Roser, his mother actually would sing the national anthem for us before the match. It was whatever. We had a special, I don't know if you know this, we actually had a special section for the parents of Seaford Wrestling. Nobody could sit there but the parents of Seaford Wrestling, right at the mat side, So they felt good about it. And you know what it is. It's co-oping them. That's what you're doing. You're co-opting them to get them. You do it all the time with your selling this and all that stuff. You do it all the time. So why am I telling you that? So anyway, so that's how that came to pass, and the spotlights. So Sal saw that. So Sal saw the production that was being constructed when we were coaching. And consequently, he says, why don't we start doing that? And it was Sal, Lori Mackey again, and myself in my office in the high school. We met and we said, how are we going to do? What's the date and stuff like that? So we started off slow, but it had all of the elements. It had the spotlight, it had the lights around the outside edge and the tables and the chairs, and conducted well. And here it is with 20, how many years?
Yeah, so 20. It's still going strong with the Friends of Seaford Wrestling.
I think it's 20 something years.
Yeah, over 20 years. And Gerbino night, and we have try and make each wrestling match an event to be at. So that all got started because
you also, just to interrupt you, Dave, we also had gimmicks. We had gimmicks. We had wearing of the green night. So anybody who walked in, I don't even know if I think there was admission then. I think they charged admission, but if you wore green, you got in for free. We had hard hat night, where people were wearing hard hat, construction hats. We had flashlight night, where if you came in with a flashlight, we said we're not going to use the spotlights this time for the flag and the national anthem. We're not using it, but you had to bring a flashlight to shine it on the flag during the national anthem.
Nice.
All of those things, and I had National Industrial Arts, so I had made signs that I put in the hall and painted signs. Wrestling tonight, they broadcast like college. Big wrestling match tonight. We're wrestling Wantor. Everybody come. And of course, we had so many people coming that people were coming early for the JV matches just to get a seat. So in many cases, the JV matches, which, parents are maybe there, were crowded. By the time the wrestling actually started, the place was packed. We actually had to put ropes. I don't even know if they're there anymore. Probably not as many years, but we actually had hook eyes in between the two sets of double doors on each side, and we roped off when we took the volleyball stanchions and put them on each corner of the mat all the way back, so that people could keep the people off of the mat. We had mat mates. You know about mat mates?
Yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that now.
No.
So maybe you could just talk to kind of maybe the current wrestlers now of maybe why you should wrestle, and what advice or encouragement would you have for a current wrestler? So why should you get involved in, and then those that are on the current team, what advice or encouragement can you throw out to them? Some of your
first thing, I think I have to compliment you guys. I mean, I read in your newsletters and stuff like that you have those, I don't even know what the kiddie wrestling I'm going to call it, but it's not that, I don't think. And that you have the mats open kind of regularly, even in the summer. And it doesn't make any difference how old you are, whatever experience you're co-opting them. Using the word again, you're injecting them with what you want to inject them with. If somebody starts something early enough, it's not so hard to do it later on. Like I use that same philosophy with lacrosse officiating. I said, why don't we run a junior lacrosse program where kids in high school can go to classes. In fact, I used to teach it. Go to classes, learn how to officiate. Usually, well, it was always a senior, and in most cases, it was a captain. So it really helped us in many respects. First of all, they knew the rules. Secondly, they're the captain of the team, so they would keep their teams under control. And third of all, during the summer, they would help in the summer leagues as the third official, or whatever the case would be. And lo and behold, as they get through high school, as they get through college, they've already worn the stripes, and consequently, it's not as hard for them to get on the field because they've already been on the field. Similarly to wrestling, if they're already in the mat, it's not as hard to get them as a sophomore or a freshman into the wrestling room. So it's great. It's great. And once you get them, I mean, think. What is your rate of dropping out from younger to older? Probably not very much.
Yeah, that's what we really work on, is trying to
work
get
on retention for sure.
Keep them, start them young and retain. That's the big part of it.
Well, you guys are models. I mean, two twin brothers, religious, living in the same town, very gun ho, and trying to make sure you're not only getting a good wrestler. I read it in your paper. You're developing a good man. You're developing a good man.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you. I'm sure. I'm confident that I'm sure the things that you do, you learned from Coach LoStrappo when he was coaching you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, we not only did we wrestle under him, we coached for him for a long time also. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I know. So obviously the compliment starts with you. It's a lot easier to have somebody under your umbrella than trying to get them under your umbrella. And that's what you've done.
Thank you.
And of course, I don't have to tell you about man building and discipline, and not only self-discipline, but discipline with your studies, because you have to do well academically. Loyalty to not only yourself, but your team and your school, not letting people down. I mean, there are so many attributes. And how many people have come up to you since when you were coaching with LoStrappo or now, have come back and say, I still maintain the same thought process. I still maintain you can't quit. You got to keep on going.
That's what we talk about. It's one of the most rewarding things of coaching, is to have, people, those relationships that go beyond when they graduate, and people, seeing success in our former wrestlers. So that's pretty cool to see.
I still get, in fact, unfortunately I heard from Danny Brack about his brother Michael passing away.
Yeah.
And I still hear from him. Of course, Michael DeSilvio, he's a champion in my book, through and through. He's the guy who really took the Friends of Seaford Wrestling and Gerbino Night and brought it to a totally different level.
Yep.
Totally different level with the raffles and stuff like that. Come on.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So you touched, and I just want to touch on again briefly. I don't know if a lot of people, I guess maybe they do, but I didn't really know how much of an accomplished lacrosse referee that you were. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're in the Long Island Metropolitan Lacrosse Hall of Fame. Recently got inducted to the Nassau County Hall of Fame, and you have officiated some very high stakes college and high school. It says 25 Nassau championships, 3 CHSAA championships, 12 New York State championships, 3 NCAA Division I championships, and 3 Division II championship games. And you were named the Nassau County Lacrosse Official Association Man of the Year in 1991, and Nassau County Coaches Association Man of the Year in 2003. So, wow, that's quite a list of accomplishments you have as an official in lacrosse.
Where are you getting all this propaganda?
Hey,
we got eyes all over the place. We know everything.
Google. But wow, that's quite a list of accomplishments. I don't know if everyone really, at least, like I said, maybe they do, but that's pretty impressive. So congratulations on that.
The way that you didn't ask this question, but it's good for you to know this. So when I first started back in 1967, I was coaching with Eddie Danowski. Eddie Danowski, Tom Bosch, and I were coaching football, JV football together. And Jeff Nichols and Harry Curtis and a couple other guys were touring in varsity. So I got to know Eddie Danowski very well. In fact, I was in his wedding party, oddly enough. And he was the head lacrosse coach. Was he head lacrosse coach when you were there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought so. Anyway, so Ed said to me one day, he says, hey, what are you doing this afternoon? I said, I don't know. He says, I need somebody to time the lacrosse game. I said, I went to Valley Stream South. They didn't have lacrosse. I went to Colorado State. They didn't have lacrosse. I don't even know what a lacrosse ball looks like. How can I do that? So he says, I need a favor. It's very easy. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. Hey, I can do that. So I go there, and I loved it. So I told him, I said, listen, don't get anybody else for any other game. Freshman, JV, varsity, I'm doing it all. I just want to be the timekeeper for lacrosse. So now I'm doing timekeeping on a kind of a regular basis. And the officials who I saw officiating my football games and the officials who I saw refereeing my wrestling matches are the same guys doing lacrosse games. And they're saying, what are you doing here, sitting on the table, turning the clock on and off? Why don't you become a lacrosse official? I said, I can't do that. Here I go again. I don't know anything about lacrosse. So they said, well, why don't you, the school starts in January, why don't you go to lacrosse officials school? Whoa, that's a phantom leap for me. So I said, okay, so I'm going to go. Well, first of all, I knew nothing. I mean, these guys are all American lacrosse players coming back on to be officials or whatever they were, but they knew lacrosse. I knew nothing. And the guy who taught the class, his name is Frenchie Julian. He's in the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame. Was teaching it. Odd kind of a guy, crazy but good. He used to be. He wrote the rule book. He wrote the college rule book. So he had power beyond power. So I'd go into class. I'd diligently read the rule book. I didn't know what I was reading. He'd come by and he'd start giving me some. Giving class some, I said, I don't understand that. What does that mean? Blah, blah, blah. Classes were Tuesdays and Thursdays. He'd say something on Tuesday. Something would happen in college on Wednesday, and he changed the rule on Thursday. Okay, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it. But wrestling helped me because you can't quit. You can't quit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how I ended up becoming a junior high lacrosse official. That ultimately, 39 years later, I officiated for 39 years, probably 1,300, 1,400 games I officiated.
Wow.
Which is interesting because I remember, I guess it might have been when I was in high school or shortly after I graduated high school. We went to big schools that were good in lacrosse, and I was watching University of Virginia. It was where I went to school, playing in I think it was the semifinals of NCAAs, and I was like, wait a second, Mr. Buckley's refereeing this. It was on ESPN, and I was like, look, he's out there refereeing the, NCAA semifinals or finals game. So that was pretty cool.
And I think it was at College Park where I went to school, University of Maryland. I think that's where the game, I'm sure you've officiated many times at College Park, right?
I officiated 3 Division I national championships, all 3 of them, but is it Cole? No, it's Cole Fieldhouse, Bird Stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. That's Bird Stadium at the University of Maryland. Yep. College Park.
And I officiated at the UVA.
Yep.
With the columns.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So.
I officiated wherever they sent me.
Nice. One of the things I wanted to talk about also, we talked about the 9/11 Memorial Committee. You are an Honorary Patriot Award recipient in 2003, and you still come back on 9/11, and there's your Honorary Patriot Award. I know that means a lot to you, and every year, except for this year for obvious reasons, when they do the 9/11 Memorial, you're always up there speaking and a big part of that. Just tell me what that means to you, the 9/11 Memorial Fund and the committee and being an Honorary Patriot Award.
The question, it does mean a lot to me. Yes. And to be honest with you, I have not missed one of the candlelight ceremonies, not one of those. and I missed one dinner because I had, what did I have? Something not good. Anyway, I had something like, from, anything, I wasn't good. I couldn't come, so I called Tom Condon and I said, Tom, not making it this time. Not making it this time.
Well, thank
so
you.
my batting percentage is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your work there. Maybe we'll just finish up with this. What are you up to these days, and how are you doing now? You look fantastic. You
Look good.
So where are you living? What are you doing? What's going on in your life now?
Where you are looking when I'm here, and you can see me in the black screen or whatever. We live in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Really, the mailing address is Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And it's a very, very nice community. It's a 55 and older community.
55 and better.
What's that?
55 and better.
Yeah, 55 and better, not 55 and older.
Yeah. Well, I had to tell you what. I was with somebody last night, Tom McCarthy, one of our neighbors, who was a former president here. And he said, we are going the opposite. Most of our kids think we should be getting older, and we're getting younger, because there's so much going on here, and people are basically the same age, and they're all doing something, whether it's golf or bowling or paddle ball or tennis or pickleball or playing cards or whatever the case may be. Look, there it goes again. Whatever it is, it's a very, very active community. And the people, I always joke around, I say people have to pass a personality test to be able to buy a house here, because they're all very, very good people. Very, very good people. We have very patriotic people, most cases, very religious people, very caring people. They volunteer for nursing homes and food pantries and taking people for rides for doctors and stuff like that. So it's great. It's great.
Good.
And what about, do you have any grandchildren? How many grandchildren do you have?
Six grandkids, I'm proud to say. The reason why we're here is our oldest daughter, Kelly, who is a nurse. She's a nurse. I'm going to tell you where, because you're going to hear this a couple of. She's a nurse at Villanova University. She was a nurse at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, but she's a nurse at Villanova. And she and her husband, well, they were here because she got a job in Villanova, or Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So she and her husband were here, and they have 4 kids. And our younger daughter, Shannon, went to Arizona State University and graduated from URI. She was up in Boston, and her husband, she got married, and her husband got transferred to Westchester, Pennsylvania. So now we have Kelly in Collegeville and Shannon in Westchester, and I'm on Long Island. We're on Long Island. So I said to Maureen, when trucking back and forth, I call the New Jersey Turnpike my driveway, because I was on the New Jersey Turnpike more than I was on my own driveway. So I said, this is crazy. We got to do something about that. So
good deal.
We found this place. That was the whole story about that, but it turned out great. It was a blessing, just an absolute positive. God was looking over us and blessed us by getting this place. Excellent. My daughter Shannon owns her own business. She's a motivating speaker. She's a crisis management person and manages. She coaches, manages. That's what she does.
Okay.
Anyway, 6 grandchildren. The oldest one, Patrick, 22, and he just graduated from Villanova.
Okay, very nice.
The next child is Molly. She's a senior at, you want to guess where?
Villanova.
Yeah. Right. There's some kind of tuition consideration
Okay.
That's big.
She's got 2 of her 4 going to be graduating May. They're going to graduate May. Well, Molly's going to graduate May. The other guy is a football player in high school here, a big guy, tackle. And the other guy is 8, Sean. So that was kind of Sean. He's 8. He's into basketball and baseball and all the things I tell him not to do. That's what he's
Yeah, get some wrestlers.
Exactly.
Well, I had on my other side, Shannon, she had a boy first, Ryan. I had him going out for wrestling. Too tough. Too tough. It's a man sport. It's a man builder.
Yeah.
It was too tough. When I saw him, I actually, because me, I actually had to sneak into a tournament because I got so revved up on it. And my daughter says, "Don't come because you get him too nervous." Too nervous? What do you mean too nervous? Playing on his back. What do you nervous? So he picked up lacrosse, thank God, and he is got a scholarship to Cabrini College. Have you heard of Cabrini University, which is they won the Division III national championship, not last year naturally, but the year before.
Okay.
And that's Ryan Cassidy, and his sister Grace, who's a senior in high school, she's a lacrosse player too, and probably doing well in college as well. So all is good. We've been very, very blessed. Very blessed. The Lord has been very good.
Blessed is a good word. So I want to personally thank you. You've been such an encouragement to me and Dave and even my older brother Eric as building principal.
Eric, tell him I said hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's been such an encouragement to us. And just you send the emails whenever you send encouraging words to us. I feel like you've always had our back, and just so it really means a lot to me, and I know to Dave as well. You've been a definite positive impact in our lives. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you tonight. And, your name is all over Seaford High School and all over the town, and everybody's heard of your name. So I just wanted to give out people an opportunity to really know who you are, and put a face to that name and hear your story. So that's why we want to interview you tonight. And I appreciate you taking time to talk to us and always, continuing to follow Seaford Wrestling and be a big fan and supporter of Seaford Wrestling. That means a lot to us.
Well, it's a real pleasure. Thank you very much for even thinking of me. And as I have said to you guys many times personally and also in emails, if there's anything I can do, don't ever hesitate to ask, because
Can you get rid of
how much wrestling is in my blood. Seaford Wrestling is in my blood. Excuse me?
Can you get rid of this virus?
That'd be nice. I told you about Miracle. Told you about Miracle. Don't put the nail in the coffin yet.
There you go.
Okay.
So any event I've ever been to where you were there, it always ends, or at some point, it doesn't have to end with it, at some point in the evening, with you pulling up a chair, standing on the chair, and singing "God Bless America."
God bless America, right.
We got our flags. I don't know if you have, it's on your shirt. Maybe we could finish up. Before we do that, is there anything you want to add? And then maybe we could finish up with the singing of God Bless America.
Is there anything you want to add before we sing God Bless America?
I'm glad you brought up Eric. I remember him very, very well in school. And your mom and dad?
Yeah.
Always a class act. When I would ever see them at a wrestling match, or if they would be coming to the 9/11 ceremony, they'd always stop by to say hello. Just classy people. So there's no wonder that you two guys are the way you are, because apple and tree.
Thank you. Yes, we are blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all are, and I hope that the blessings continue with a COVID-free world sooner than later.
Amen.
Amen to that.
You ready to sing?
I got my pad for my.
There you go.
I got my pad for this. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie America, my home, sweet home. God
Bless America,
my home, sweet home.
Awesome.
That was good.
That was
Get
good.
some water in you.
That was awesome. What a way
Real
to.
pleasure to you, gentlemen. And Merry Christmas to you. I see Merry Christmas in the back.
Yes,
Merry
Merry Christmas to you.
Healthy. Happy New Year to you, your wives, your twin wives.
They're not twins.
They're
They're
not
sisters.
twins. They're the sisters.
Oh, they're not twins.
No, I have twin sons though. I have identical twin sons. They're
I knew there was
sisters.
something there somehow.
Yeah.
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 But thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Happy New Year. We wish you best of good health and happiness. And we look forward to hearing from you some more. We look forward to getting back on the mats, giving you updates, and
I love it. I actually do love it. When I see Dick Harrison there, all the rest of them.
There you go. Thank you.
So have a good time of critiquing this thing. You can tell I'm a talking Irishman, so critique, eliminate, cut. The floor should be just filled with throwaway film.
It was all good.
It was all good.
It was
There's
awesome.
nothing to throw away.
Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot.
This
Thank
was a lot
you.
of fun.
Yes.
God bless. God bless.
God bless you. Have a
Merry
good.
Christmas.
and,
Please tell your mother and father and Eric I was asking for.
I will do that.
Tell your family I said hello.
God bless.
God bless you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.